It's week 48 of the golfing calendar, and the Australian Open, well, could not have been more exciting. The men's, the women's, the all abilities, all incredible. In fact, there's an arse-size shape in my couch where I did not move from for 4 days. Got to say thanks to Ping. They will help you play your best. You can get a Ping Club fitting from your local golf shop or professional. And the Golf Clearance Outlet. They're in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, and online at golfclearanceoutlet.com.au. But now, with a lot to talk about, the hosts of the #1 Australian golf podcast, Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen. This is Talk Birdie to Me.
Have you pushed the button yet, Dan?
You sound so
just
condescending when you
yes
say that.
Or a no?
Yes, it's a yes.
Did you bring the wine in today?
No, I didn't. It's very early in the morning, so I didn't bring any wine in. But look, it is great to be at Australian Golf Headquarters straight after both Australian Opens and the Australian PGA. But the best news is we had somebody right there up in the booth who was handling it all. And I want to ask this question. You had 3 tournaments going on at once. Mm-hmm. Considering that, it kind of went reasonably smoothly. And I'm talking about graphics going up and everything else, Nick. What do you think?
Very impressive. 3 tournaments in one. If the viewer at home could see behind the scenes as to what was going on there with trying to run 3 tournaments over 2 golf courses, it is amazing how well they did. And to Michael O'Dwyer and his team at APAC, they did a great job. And I thought all that side of things went pretty smoothly. Obviously, you're going to have your hiccup here and there with certain things, but it's totally understandable. But from what I got on some of the feedback, and I know my wife watched it and she said, look, it looked really great, similar to the PGA the week before.
Yep.
And yeah, we had dramatic finishes too.
Oh, well, let's talk about him because Joaquin Niemann, the way he played the 18th 3 times in a row, like in regulation going down, I don't know what hole it was, at the driving range, wasn't it? Down the right-hand side.
So the funny thing was, on the 18th hole, 72nd hole that he played, he hit it almost into the corporate villages.
Yeah.
Now, we'd had a meeting earlier in the week with the rules officials from the DP World Tour and the Australasian Tour, and they've gone, well, there's out of bounds over there on the right where the corporate villages are. So when he hit it out there, I thought, oh, well, I think he might be out of bounds. But anyway, they found the ball. Obviously, the out of bounds is further down.
Yeah.
He ends up climbing through the hospitality tents trying to get a line on where to go. Hits this shot, just looks down, doesn't know where it's going.
Doesn't know where it's going.
Middle of the green.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And then to hit those 2 shots.
And pin high. Not only middle of the green, the number was perfect.
Yeah. His caddy, Gary Matthews, I think his last name was, the animal, as we used to call him.
Yes, that's him.
he's a beauty, the animal. Used to caddy for Tim Clark many years ago, and I played with Tim in the President's Cups, and the animal and my caddy Wilbur, they got on like a house on fire. It was a lot of fun, but it was great to see him get the win, obviously. But to get that number right from there, that was impressive. And the galleries were loving it too. They were high-fiving him all the way down. Yeah,
and the eagle putt, just that where the hole was cut was just on the upslope.
Yep.
It was tracking if he didn't pick up. If he knew about if he factored in the upslope, I think he holes it. But I think it was pretty clear that he didn't factor that upslope in.
It fooled everyone. Even when they had the 3rd round pin where it was front right, this was middle right, there's an upslope there that because it's going away towards the water, you're thinking, well, it's probably going to be a little quicker than what it looks, and it never is. And that green fooled a lot of people. So the playoff was fun too. I mean, he bombed a drive down there. He hits 9-iron in the first time.
Just popped out of the rough. It was 2. Yeah. Just jumped out.
To 5 feet. Hoshino's in the fairway bunker.
I want to talk about him soon.
Yeah, Hoshino was in the greenside bunker on both playoff holes. I remember that. And he those 2 up and downs are really impressive. That's a tough bunker shot over there. I thought he was going to play more the chunk and run, but both times he threw it all the way up there and spun it. Gutsy. But the way he putts, he was such an aggressive putter for 2 weeks. Yeah. We saw it at the PGA the week before. We saw it here, and everything just banged into the back of the hole, and he just knocked those putts in. Yes, he knew he needed to make them, so he gave him a bit of speed, took the break out.
But that was standard for him. That's what he's been doing the last 2 weeks.
It was all class. I mean, he's finished runner-up the last 2 weeks. Incredible.
Yeah, in big events, and didn't hit the driver that flash, as far as I'm concerned, and he's finished runner-up. Now, every time I saw him with an iron, they were brilliant shots, and he was, had the ability to hit the ball the right weight every single time. It wasn't over the back, it wasn't too short. But the hands of gold associated with this Hashimo character, some of the chips where a lot of others would be putting, and a lot of the bunker shots like you were just talking about, the chunk and run's a real option, but no, he'd throw it, doesn't matter what's in the background.
Yeah, I think he only hit one bad chip all week, and that was on Sunday on 14, the par 5, where he chunked one. It was a real grainy chip, so I was surprised he actually did chip that one. But
had you heard of him before? I'd never heard of this character before in my entire life.
I'd heard of Hisatsune, who just won the Sir Henry Cotton Rookie of the Year as a Japanese player. The first time that's ever happened. Yeah. And there's only ever been 3 other Japanese winners on tour, Hisatsune, Matsuyama and Aoki. So Hoshino was going for a bit of a record there to join them, go down in history books. And I was just so impressed with how he gutted it out as well. And if he had won, well, they would have had to find a Japanese translator as well. I don't think he speaks much English.
And the Buhai win was an interesting one as well. I mean, the 54th hole, she's in perfect shape to actually go at the green in 2, lays up, which was interesting. She had a 4-shot lead at the time. I guess she's thinking, I can still make birdie here and take 5 shots in, but that was interesting. And then she followed that up with 12 pars in a row to start. I thought she was going to do a Nick Faldo there for a little while.
I was hoping, it was funny. I was out wandering around in the morning, and my good buddy Soren Keltsen, who's a Danish golfer, and I've known him for 25 years, a ripping guy, and it's a credit to him that he's still out on tour to be able to play at the highest level. He's getting close to 50 these days, and he's still playing the DP World Tour. That's impressive. Yeah. But he came off the 9th green because he teed off 10, and we'll talk about all that shortly. And he's gone, yep, good luck this afternoon, everyone, because it's really hard out there. The greens were at least about a half a foot quicker. Yeah. The winds were getting up to 30k an hour, gusting up to 50, and everything was just drying out, and you just knew it was going to be carnage out there in the afternoon. And par was actually a good score. I mean, you saw Buhai 12 pars in a row. She didn't make a birdie all day, shot 75, and ended up winning by 1 from Minjee Lee. Minjee Lee made 8 birdies in that final round. Yeah. 8 birdies.
I want to talk about both Lees. Yeah. So let's start with Minj.
Yeah, unfortunately, she made a double on 13. That was the one that killed her. Yeah. She was sort of within 2 at that stage, and Buhai made her first bogey, and Minjee unfortunately chipped a couple of times from the front of that green. That's such a hard pin on 13, the front one there. Yep. Putting was an option. We saw Jie Shin do it on the same hole, but she played awesome, Minjee. I mean, to come back from how far back she was going into the weekend, she was a long way behind.
Yeah. Minwoo looked like the star of the show after rounds 1 and 2, and then just the magic fell out of his golf bag.
Well, the shot he hit into 18 on Friday, I think it was, from the pine straw, 173 metre.
Staggering.
9-iron.
Yeah, staggering.
That was, I'm going to do my masterclass on that later, actually, hitting out a pine straw.
Oh, but, beautiful.
Yeah, because that was something, it was a joke how good that shot was.
Was there a little closed face to get the ball to move?
He had to hit a little hook, a little draw, but when it landed, it's gone sideways on him. He's almost freaking hold the thing.
Yeah. The way it landed, that's what Tiger used to do. He used to do lots of stuff like that.
Yes.
To where you go, hang on, how did the ball do that? How did the ball dance like that? Yeah. And Minwoo does a bit of that himself.
He does. Yeah, there's a bit of slope there to help him, but the way he finished Friday, I think he had a 3-shot lead going into Saturday, and you're going, I think he's going to walk this in. And then he opens up Saturday with a massive drive, hooks another 9-iron in, I think, on the first, which is 450 metre par 4, makes birdie to go to 13 under, and you're thinking, this could be all over.
Yeah.
But then...
Uphill par 4, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, 450 metres uphill.
Well, it's really a par 5. Yeah. But they make it a 4 for the tournament.
Yeah, it is for members.
It's par 5 for us. But, he actually struggled Saturday. It was the first time you've seen him kind of struggle the last couple of weeks, but he still ground out a 1 under par, which was really impressive, and that's one of the things he's learned, I think, this past year. He said in his press conference, I've learned how to shoot good scores while not playing well, and I've learned that from the best players.
Well, interesting, after his win at the PGA, it probably would have been the very first time he teed it up on a Thursday where he was the star of the show. I think... last week at the PGA.
In Australia.
Australia. Well, anywhere.
Well, Macau Open, which he won.
Was he the star there, was he?
He was the star, I think.
Well, certainly in Australia. That was the very first time. I mean, the PGA, you had Cameron Smith and Adam Scott. They were the stars of the show. Minwoo we were hopeful, but when he stood on that first tee on Thursday, he was the star of the show. And then when he stood on the first tee on Saturday, he was expected to win.
Yes.
And they're very different pressures.
Very much so.
Very, very different pressures when you what is he, 25? When you're 25 years old. And he's going to have a ripping 2024. I reckon just put it in the bank. Put it in the bank. He is going to do something very special.
I think he'll win on the PGA Tour, and he's going to go close to a major.
Yeah.
I'm guessing in 2024 if he keeps up what he's doing, because he's an excitement machine.
Yeah.
And there's a new Woozy in town, as they call him.
Yeah.
Not Ian Woosnam. It's Min Woozy Lee.
It's interesting when it's poking out the back on his yardage book. Yeah. It says it right there. So I think everyone's calling him Woozy. Hey, I do want to talk about just the format of the Australian Open before we go any further.
Yeah.
I called it experimental. I think Mike Clayton called it experimental too in one of his articles that he's written this week. I just want to read out a tweet from one of the players, James Marcazzoni. I want to get your thoughts. This came out on Saturday. Spare a thought for the lads off at 1:05 p.m. on the 10th who start the day at 4 under par. 6.5 hours after, players at 3 under start their rounds, and 16 minutes after the lead group tees off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, having 3 tournaments going in an event, and certainly having 2 tournaments on the weekend, there were always going to be vagaries that we aren't used to in Australian Opens. That one's a big one for me. I don't know what the Australian Open does, because what you want to do is you've got to keep things fair in our National Open.
For sure.
So I don't know what they do from here, Nick. Now, you've got insight that not many others would have.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Last year, we had the double cut.
Yep.
Okay, if you remember at Victoria and Kingston Heath, the players didn't like that. No. Cameron Smith ended up missing the second cut by a shot, I think. So he wasn't there on the Sunday, and it took away the opportunity for him to make a charge.
To shoot 61 and win.
Which I completely understand. Yeah. So the double cut is never great, I don't think. So
Not in a National Open.
So what happened was, obviously we'd love to have a 1T start so it keeps it fair for everyone. The problem we had was you had a cut for the men of 60 pros plus ties.
Yes.
So that includes amateurs as well.
Okay.
Right, so you get 60 pros, and then if you have amateurs on top of that, well, then the cut goes out. It doesn't go out, but you add more players.
That's right.
In the end, there was 67 men that played the weekend,
nice.
Which is about right.
Nice and neat.
On the women's side, because they had a smaller field, only about 80 players who teed it up. They had a cut of 32 pros who make the cut. Their issue there is a lot of the best players on the women's side are amateurs still that were in the field.
How many amateurs made the cut?
17 amateurs made the cut.
Okay.
So that means they had a women's cut of 47 players rather than 32. So they couldn't do the 1T start because it was too big a field. So then they have to revert to what we call the Udraw, a morning and an afternoon field as well.
So not one Udraw,
but two.
Two Udraws.
And what that means is, well, I don't know what the best way to explain it is. You go.
I'm going to try and explain it. Okay,
my head's full after the weekend.
So you've just got to imagine that if there's a big storm in the morning, and they want to avoid that lightning storm, what they'll do is they'll put the leaders off at 1 o'clock, and then they go down to maybe 11 o'clock, and if the leaders are at 10 under, then you might go all the way down to 4 under, and they're hitting off 2 hours earlier off the same tee.
Yep.
And then what they do, they move the players across to the 10th tee at the same time. So if you're on 4 under par, you might be hitting off at 11 o'clock if the leaders are hitting off at 1 o'clock. And some of them will be hitting off at the first tee. Others will be hitting off the 10th tee. But then what happens is it goes back up.
Back up, yeah.
So what you have a situation with the leaders are hitting off the first tee at 1 o'clock, and the people who are coming absolutely last in the field are hitting off at the same time off the 10th tee.
Correct. And the middle players meet in the middle first off. So what happened, and there was a big, obviously, a thing, I think, going on social media about Adam Scott.
Yeah.
Okay. He almost won. He should have won the golf tournament.
He should have won the tournament.
So I got a bit of inside info here for you, by the way.
Go on.
He's leading the golf tournament.
Yep.
14 under par. He's had to hit off the 10th tee, as we know. I'll get to that in a minute.
Yep.
But 7th hole, he's got 3 holes to go because he teed off 10. 3 holes to go. He's only 2 groups behind the last group, by the way. So conditions were tough. All we're thinking is if he finishes 14 under, I think that could win.
Yeah.
And as it turned out, it would have got him in a playoff.
Yeah.
Snipes one left on 7. There's a range over there. We know it's out of bounds. And the camera got to it. I don't know if you saw it at all, but it's up against the fence.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of room.
It's up against the net
up against
the driving range.
Yeah, there was actually a bit more room than what the camera angle showed. Guess who was over there giving the ruling?
Our man.
Our buddy,
Yeah.
Stuart McPhee.
Stewie.
I ran into our man at the Qantas Lounge as I'm
Yeah.
coming home.
Good old Stu.
Good old Stewie. And basically, he said, "Yeah, that was me there." And I had to give the ruling. When we first got there, it looked as though he was in bounds because we thought that was the where the posts were, etc. But as it turned out, the white posts were sort of you couldn't quite see them. They were behind.
I couldn't see any white posts.
They were behind this big the
pylons.
The pylons, yes, exactly. And then when they looked at it again, he's gone, "Oh no!" And he said it was only about 3 or 4 inches that Scotty's ball was out of bounds. So
my God.
he'd hit a provisional off the tee, but his provisional had gone a long way the other way. But
Yeah.
Scotty'd actually started walking back to the tee. He might have been a bit, I don't know, flustered or whatever. But anyway, he goes to and he ends up making triple and loses the golf tournament. But some people said, why can't we have Scotty off number 1? Well, he was at that point in the draw where it tips over to number 10. Now,
and that's because there's men, then women,
then men,
then women, men, then women, all the way down.
There was actually a point where, and again, this you could say this is unfair, this is not, whatever, but I think for the betterment of the golf tournament, he was first off 10. They could have put him flipped with the first off 1, which was a women's group. They could have flipped them over to 10. And because those players in the women's side were actually out of the golf tournament, they were a long way behind. Whereas Scotty, if he got on a run, could still win. And for the sponsors that pay all the money, obviously, at the end, they want to see someone win on the 18th green.
Yeah, well, that's the question for Golf Australia next year, because if I'm a big sponsor, and let's say I've outlaid $400,000, partly for sponsorship of the tournament, partly for a corporate box right behind the 18th green, if I didn't see our Tiger Woods, Adam Scott, hole the winning putt of the Australian Open right in front of me, I would have been really disappointed. Now, that didn't happen, and Golf Australia probably dodged a little bullet there. But still, you kind of even want to watch people who are close, maybe have that 30-footer on the last in front of the corporate boxes to get into a playoff.
Yeah, and the issue we had, because of the big field, because of the way the draw worked, who teed off 10 on the final day? There was Smith, Leishman, Scott, Hisatsune, and a couple other big names as well. So.
All the live players made the cut, by the way.
Did they? How many were playing?
I think there was 7.
Okay. Laurie Cantor was up there for a while, and he's been a reserve on live, and we were thinking, okay, this is interesting. We could have a live playoff.
Bloody happening. Anyway, look, so there are a lot of pros and cons. Golf Australia will work through them. We all know that both tournaments stand up by themselves. Is it worth going forward? Well, they'll have all the numbers, and they'll know better than you and I know. But you do want to have a tournament that is as fair as possible when we're playing our national. Now, I think there needs to be a few more tweaks for them to
I think
keep
there's
going.
a couple. But at the end of the day, if you watch the coverage, you would think that was a fantastic golf tournament.
Yeah, it was.
I think.
No, it was. The actual tournament.
How it played out, it was riveting. And I was right there in the booth talking about it, and it was so much fun.
I watched heaps of it. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
Beautiful.
And I felt so sorry for Scotty on 7. That was
it was a tough one. Yeah.
It was brutal. Yeah. It was brutal watching it. 'Cause I think we're all now. Hey, was that a little voicemail thingy I heard?
It was. It looks like we have one. Should we hear it?
Yeah, let's go.
You have one new voicemail. New message.
Hi, Mark and Nick. I wanted to ask your thoughts on the recent report that the USGA and the RNA are planning to roll back the golf ball rather than a bifurcation of rules or a local rule being implemented by 2028. Do you see these bodies being out of touch with the real amateur level compared to the elite amateurs like pennants and single digit and plus handicap golfers and professional golfers? I can't see how everyday golfers like myself in a B and C graders needing our games to be made any harder than they currently are with a golf ball that's not going to go as far with a change in the implementation of the swing speed that they want to use. Wanted to know what your thoughts were on that. Thanks, guys. Love the podcast.
Thanks, Michael. Great question, because if you haven't been watching social media, it looks like the RNA and the USGA at some stage this week are going to bring it out. Now, the people that I follow on social media are talking about the ball spinning more, which is kind of what we've been talking about for everybody. And the reason that you and I both like that, Nick, is because when I use a Pro V1, which is the normal ball I use, every once in a while I'll test out the Pro V1X. Now, the Pro V1X spins more off with the driver. It's just it spins more. I can't notice the difference that the ball travels when I play. And, I'm still playing with 103, 104 miles per hour club head speed. So what's that? 51. I still can't get to 160 ball speed.
I'm right there with you.
Right? So I can't tell the difference. And that's as honest as I can possibly. Now, around the greens, I can really tell the difference. The X spins more and it's better out of the bunkers and all kinds of stuff like that. So for your average golfer, and I'm one of them now, I can't see the difference. But we know that exponentially, the higher the ball speed you have, they really do notice, particularly when they put a TrackMan behind their ball. For instance, I was told when Dustin Johnson would hit a TP5 as the TP5X, I think that's right, there was a big difference. Like, it was 12 yards of carry. So he obviously uses the harder ball. So I think making the ball spin more, which is what I'm hearing they're going to do, is one really key aspect. Now, Nick, you're going to love this next one.
Please.
Because they are talking about bifurcation, but they're talking about it just with the driver head size. Now, when I say they, people who I follow, who I think are in a position to kind of know what's on the way.
Finally.
So
I hope so.
If they do that, I think that is a perfect storm for golf, because your real average player who doesn't care what ball they'll find the ball and play it. They'll tee it up the next hole. They haven't got they don't care. The elite amateurs, well, I put myself and you still in that bracket. All right, we don't hit it as far as them, but we don't know. I can't tell the difference with a spinning ball than a non-spinning ball with all of my clubs, except for when we get really close to the green.
Yeah.
But if we start making the head a little bit smaller for the driver, and the ball is now not only spinning more but side spinning more, hooks and cuts, and we don't make the driver the easiest club in the bag to hit, I think that makes a lot of sense. And then your amateurs can still whack away with the great big clubs that we've got at the moment. I think it's perfect if that happens.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think even Rory McIlroy came out and said, look, we need this ball to spin a bit more, change a little. And the thing was, it's 2028, by the way. I mean, that's 5 years away.
Yeah,
okay, so no stress just now, for sure. But as you say, Mark, I'm not that fussed if the ball goes the same distance, fine. But spin on the ball, guess what?
Yeah.
Players won't be going at it as hard because they won't be able to control it as much.
That's right.
If they hit it sideways. With the smaller head on a driver, that makes a huge difference. The reason they can create these speeds at the moment is because there's so much forgiveness in the driver. It's why, Bryson DeChambeau basically changed the game almost for a little while there, because they're just going flat out. And kids now, they're just taught to smash the ball. Now, if they had a driver the size of this is ridiculous, the size of a 3-wood, well, guess what? You're not going to... You're not going to be, going at it as hard, because you're going to try and get a bit more control out of it. The ball spins a bit more, so if you don't quite middle it, it's going to go much further offline. So, but again, even if they roll the ball back a little bit for distance-wise, might be 4 or 5 yards for most golfers. 98% of golfers, I'd say, if that.
I think it's like, for me, again, not getting to 160 miles per hour ball speed, it's 2 yards.
Yeah.
With a driver. So that's unnoticeable. So 5-iron's the same, wedge is the same. They're all the same. So I think it's a really good way to do it. And don't forget, they're not actually doing this for the players that are there now. Mm-hmm. They've got all the numbers on the best amateurs in the world in college that are coming through. So they are seeing what's coming through.
That's the scary thing.
Yeah.
In 10 years' time, if we're still going down this path, 400-yard drives could become the norm.
Yeah, ridiculous. The sergeants of the world. This little skinny kid who teed it up at an Ivy League school was hitting the ball close to 380 yards.
So the question from Michael was essentially he thinks this is going to make it harder for blokes like him who are just an average golfer. No. What I'm hearing from you guys is for blokes like him and for normal people, it will make no difference.
It'll make no difference whatsoever. You'll still be able to use the driver you're using at the moment. Yep. You're going to have a golf ball that will spin considerably more for Dustin Johnson, but won't do much when you hit the ball.
Yeah, and if they do bifurcate the driver, where they go, okay, then they have to go a cutoff point. Where does it come in? Well, I would say college players in the US, national amateur events,
Yep.
which get you into bigger
Yep.
events on the world stage. Maybe it gets you into
Yep.
whatever, the Australian Open. Well, then those events, yes, you have to use the regulated driver or whatever it is. And then the rest of us, hey, just go at it and make the game as easy as possible.
I'll do your job. I'll do the RNA and the USGA. Just listen up right now because I'll help you. All right? I'll help you right here. If you're playing in an event where handicap doesn't matter, then that's it. If there are no handicaps, then there are no big clubs. It's very, very simple. Club championships, for instance, there are different handicap levels at all club championships, so you can use the big clubs. But if you're playing in either Whitten here in Victoria or the big amateur events anywhere else in this country where there are no handicaps, if there are no handicaps, you're using different clubs. Simple.
So even if they bifurcate the clubs, that's not going to affect Michael if he's just having a smash with his mates.
That's right.
He plays whatever he wants.
If the biggest week in his year is the club championships, you will not notice the difference. In fact, you might even play better because you'll have more control around the greens.
Hey, we'll get you on the RNA committee there, Mark.
There's a few committees I want to get on, Nick. There are a few.
Now, did you guys see Tiger at the weekend?
Yeah, can we talk about that after the break, please? Can we do that on the 10th tee? Because I watched closely, and I've got a few things to say about Tiger Woods' game.
Ooh, okay. Like the podcast? Oh, maybe tell a friend. Drop them a text or share it on your socials. This is Talk Birdie with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
So I know you're playing Cathedral. I also know that you're going to the piss on before Cathedral starts. And I know how you like a wine, Nick. So you haven't been playing, and round 1 and 2...
There's a gala dinner on, okay? Yes, nice wines. Yes, nice wines are served.
It's the Christmas party.
However, I am driving, and I have not hit a ball in I don't know how long, and I'm playing up against Adam Scott, Cameron Smith, Mark Leishman. Well,
who have they paired you with?
No issue.
Who have they paired you
I don't know as yet. Well,
by the time this podcast is published, you will be out on the course.
I will be
sweating
bullets,
red wine.
No, I'm more worried about my game than the because I just haven't done anything. But the good news is I've got the new Blueprint S irons in the bag and the G430s from Ping. Look out.
Yeah, very, very good. By the way, I had a good friend who went down to the Golf Clearance outlet and got himself 3 gloves, loves them, got himself 2 tailor-made, one driver and one forward, 18 degrees, loves them.
Beautiful.
And he also got a rangefinder and walked out of there with under $1,200. All those things.
Wow.
So ridiculous. All brand new in the latest stuff.
Yeah, that is impressive. Hey, by the way, I was watching the guys warm up on the range the other day.
Yeah.
Adam Scott.
Yeah.
Irons.
Yeah.
Ping. S. Blueprint S.
Are you kidding me?
4 to 9 iron. He's got them in there, and I'm looking going, hey, same clubs I'm using.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is that true? Because you went the Mirror?
He always had the Titleist Blaze, and then he went to the
Mirror or whoever they
whatever
are.
that one was, specifically made for him, and now he's got the blueprints in there.
And he loves offset.
Does he?
Yeah, he loves a big offset.
Oh, okay.
I saw the Mirror Moo clubs or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
He got them to make them with the big offset.
Well, I don't think he had the Ping driver in the bag, and he might need it after the tee shot on 7.
It sounds like you're doing the old Mark Allen thing of what's in the bag.
Maybe I am.
Almost.
Right.
Can we talk about Tiger's golf?
Yes, Tiger.
I watched a lot of the Hero tournament this week.
I'm glad you did because I didn't.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough too because you're doing 6
hours
hours a day. Scheffler, putting better, wins the tournament. 16 of 18 greens on the last day, hitting the ball like a dream.
Any difference in the putting? Did you notice or not?
It looked like he was, what do you call it, releasing.
Releasing, there
It
you
looked
go.
like there was more release to me because I was watching, because I was talking about, if he keeps putting like this, he's going to brain him next year. And it's actually true because he's hitting the ball like a dream. Footwork's gone to a new level of nuttiness.
Really?
It's gone to they actually put a graphic on. They showed his footwork up against Tiger's footwork, up against JT's footwork.
Ooh.
And he finishes toe, he's up on his left heel and the toe way up, and he's on his right toe, and they're next to each other.
Yeah, I was going to say he probably finishes 2 feet further away from the ball than what he starts.
It's like a ballerina move. It is quite unbelievable. Anyway, he hit 16 greens and won the tournament easy. But I want to talk about Tiger's golf because we all like talking about Tiger and the way he plays. Swing looked very short and tight early, got better as the week went on. His limp got worse as the week went on.
Understandably.
I saw him chipping in a lot of putting from a lot of places that he normally chips from.
It is pretty grainy on that course, though, from memory.
But see, I've never seen him. He was always hands of gold tiger, and watch me because I'm the best at everything. And I don't care how bad this lie is or how into the grain I am hitting chips. He didn't. He was hitting putts.
Okay.
That's a good lesson for others out there.
He looked very big in the upper body from what I saw a couple of swings.
You have been reading my notes.
Oh, have I?
Because
sorry.
he looks so big. Like he's almost too big.
Was he a bit hunched at the setup?
Hunched, big, and sweating bullets.
Saw that. I saw a highlight of that. Yeah.
Too. I think it's going to take a toll. I mean, he looks more like a world wrestler from the WWF. Okay. He looks like, Ricky Steamboat or something. That's the physique he's got going, rather than the Tiger from the early 2000s where he just looked like he was a weapon, a golfing weapon. So I don't know about that. The other thing that we never get spoken about, Tiger is Mr. Nike, right? He's the Nike king. Mm-hmm. Who else is up there? Michael Jordan's got his own brand. Tiger's a Nike king.
Roger Federer was, and now he's not anymore.
Right? Mm-hmm. They are kings.
Yeah.
And Nike make shoes. That's their bread and butter. He's not wearing Nike shoes.
No, I know.
He's wearing FootJoy shoes, and he's been wearing FootJoy shoes for a long, long time now. What is going on with that? Surely Nike can make him a pair of shoes he's comfy in.
Heard a little backstory here from a source.
Oh, yeah.
Not going to name the source.
I always love this.
However,
I like it.
When that happened,
yeah,
and he's got the FootJoy shoes on,
yeah,
they've gone, hang on, we would love you to wear the Nikes, obviously. And he says, no, these for me are what I'd like, and that's how it'll be going forward, unless you can make something similar and all that sort of thing. And they've gone, do we want to upset the apple cart here? No, you just wear whatever you want and we'll figure that out later. So that's what I heard.
That makes sense, doesn't it? Because you can't be Nike head to toe or head to ankle.
Head to ankle.
You can't be Nike head to ankle in a Nike head to toe deal.
Yeah. I'm sure once he gets off the course, it's all got Nikes on anyway. So
yeah. No, there's no doubt he'd put the sneakers on, but not the golf shoes, which is amazing. And I was watching every player. They had this little thing on the back of their belt.
Yes.
Did you see that?
Saw that. I saw a picture of it on Twitter.
Right. So I Googled what is that thing on the back of their belts.
ShotLink.
ShotLink. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's much, much cheaper for them to do it this way. So if you don't know what ShotLink is, it's where they get all these unbelievable stats from.
Strokes gained and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. So I don't know how it works, but apparently the army that is ordinarily required to do ShotLink at every event, if the players wear this thing, it just makes it a lot easier and much cheaper.
And then I think the walking scorer is going to have some sort of thing where they just push a button and that details where they are and all that sort of thing. That's what I've heard, because it does take, you're right, an army of volunteers. The other thing on the Tiger thing that I heard, he might play a tournament once a month next year.
Yes, I saw that as well. You sent that one through. So this is great. I mean, he's limp after 4 rounds kind of looked like his limp after 2 rounds last year, to where you're going, oh God, he's in trouble. But there's only one way to do it. You got to go. You got to walk. You got to test yourself, and it'd be great to see him play 6 times this year. It would be fabulous.
Certainly would be.
It's time for some feedback.
Before we do the feedback, Jason Day, how'd he go in the Bahamas?
Yeah, he did
11th.
Did pretty well. Yeah.
Well,
unusual
11th.
seeing an Australian flag up against the tournament.
11th out of 20th.
Yeah. It's hard though. The Australian Open, it's always been in that spot to where quite often it was up against it was in the same week as the final of the DP World Tour.
Well, the thing I've heard in those sorts of things is it always comes around Thanksgiving, which is a massive thing in the United States. It's almost bigger than Christmas for them. And I know his wife doesn't really like traveling. They've got plenty of kids, so I think it's probably more of a personal decision to stay in the US. And that's, look, did we miss him down here? Sure, but did it change the tournament? Not really.
No, not really.
Hasn't been here for a while either, so hard to miss him when he hasn't been here, I suppose.
True.
Nice pot there, Dan.
No, and that's a statement of fact,
I'm
Mark.
glad you're potting him and not me.
I'm not potting Jason Day. Jeez. We have some feedback, and we've got a lot of it. Here's a comment from Country Golfer.
Right.
Okay.
There's your argument right there for rakes to be left in the bunker. That improved G.A. Shin's position and didn't protect the field.
He's saying to keep rakes in the bunker.
Yes. Did you see what happened?
No, I didn't see what happened.
Okay, so on the 7th hole, there was a rake left outside the bunker. The ball was up against the rake. She moved the rake. She walked onto the green because the ball was stationary, and then eventually the ball rolled into the bunker. Okay. Now, Country Golfer, if the rake was in the bunker, guess what? The ball would have finished in the bunker anyway, so there was no difference.
Yeah.
But thank you for that feedback, though.
That's right, Nick. Good thinking. I'm glad you're here.
Tweet from Andy here. Andy said, I'm amazed how players can read a green before making a putt. Some work, some don't. A 2-metre spirit level wouldn't look out of place in the golf bag these days, one would think. Be a very useful golfing tool.
I want to put this to you, all right? A marker
Oh, here we go.
with a mini spirit level.
Yeah.
You know what we're going to call it, Nick? The Marco.
The Marco.
Maybe.
Now we're just cheating to another level there. What frustrated me a little bit.
When we do merch, when we start doing merch on Talk Birdie to Me, there's going to be a Marco with a spirit level marker.
The funniest thing about the Aussie Open on the weekend when Hoshino was lining up his putts in the playoff, his caddy was straddling the line, doing the aim point with the hole behind them, looking off in the distance, and I'm just sitting there thinking, mate, the hole's behind you. What are you doing? I know they're trying to feel it in their feet and everything, but it looked ridiculous.
Please stop.
Tim has tweeted in, have we finally, this is actually after the Brisbane tournament, have we finally got a worthy new Sultan of Sand in Minwoo Lee, Marco?
Wash your mouth out with soap.
You weren't
Whoever
having
said that. That is ridiculous.
He might have him off the tee, but not in the sand.
Yeah, it's exact. Thank you, Nick. Thanks for backing me up, mate.
Now, one of the things we also saw in Brisbane, and we saw in...
Because I see you in there quite a bit. So.
and we saw in the Sydney tournament on Channel 9 was your Host Plus ads, which we posted up.
I still haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
Well, I saw the bit that you posted. I haven't seen the whole.
Mate, the bit he posted is like a godly figure. It had this shine about it. We need a little halo just sitting on. I mean, if
there's more coming too. So
are there?
Really?
Well, they just given it's a superannuation company, Host Plus, we has to go through the whole legal department and all that sort of thing. But it was a lot of fun filming them all. So.
Yeah. Now, Dave Knight's asked a question about it.
Right.
Question. Why is Nick holding a right-handed club if he's a left-hander in the Host Plus ad?
If you look at the golf club,
it's
actually a left-handed golf club.
Right. Is it because of the reverse of the way you're looking at the camera?
Probably. Again, it was my club. I actually haven't had a look. Maybe in the camera it looks right-handed, but I'm going to have to double-check now.
No, well, we just got to call Host Plus. If you're going right-handed, then they've got to call you Nico Who. That's what's got to happen.
Yeah. I'm gonna get around that, by the way, with a handicap.
Are you?
Because I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and get around that.
We're at Australian Golf headquarters. Let's just go straight upstairs.
I've asked the question before.
Nick,
I'm not going to talk about it.
Let me
here.
ask the question.
No,
on
I've
your
already
behalf.
spoken to the. I've already spoken to the right person, and it's not going through.
A couple of comments on your masterclass last week, Mark. This is from Spartan Partners. Judging by Marco's attire, 100% he's actually at a wedding and he's just ducked out to the lawn at reception for the video and he's quickly gone back into the reception.
No, I had just come back from Assembled Media. By the way, if you ever need some media space bought out there, just let me know. assembledmedia.com.au. We'll get you some good rates.
Ben also saw that masterclass and he said, I judge both swing length and speed. Sometimes a different shot needs more or less speed for trajectory and or spin control,
Correct.
I find.
That's right. That is exactly right. And you can factor that into your scon, and it is amazing how it works. So no matter how high or how low or how open the club face sits or how hooked, you just go with judging the backswing length, and it just makes sense.
I've got a question here from Peter. Hey guys, I had my first DNF at golf today. The rain was hammering down. The radar showed it not easing for another 2 hours. A question for you, Nick and Mark. When is it okay to walk off a course? By the way, my 3 partners made the call before I did, but I didn't object, and this was on the 11th hole.
I think it's okay to actually, once you've driven into the front gate, if it's raining and it looks pretty ugly, then just go inside, order yourself a cappuccino and a toasted ham and cheese sandwich and laugh at them all. Look out the window and laugh at them.
I know you're a fair weather golfer.
Oh,
We've spoken about this
So
before
are you.
at FWG. No, I get out there and I do it.
Oh, please.
I think for you, it's you just look at the radar at home and go, no, not,
that's
not
right.
today.
The night
You don't even get to the golf club.
Night before, send the text out. I'm not playing if it's raining. Just letting you know. The only time you actually can't mid-round walk-off is if the players who you're marking for is having a good day. Because
that's true.
You've got to hang in there for him.
Yeah.
But if he's having a rotten day, if he's halfway to 24 points,
you got to let it go.
You just look at him and go, mate, let's go. Let's get out of here.
It's like the priest off Caddyshack. He's got the caddy with him, and it is Armageddon. And I don't think the heavy stuff's going to come down for quite some time.
Hey, you guys might like, Nick, you might like this idea particularly. Fellas, love all the golf tour. Can I suggest something in honour of Nick's wife, Alana?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
A new segment called the No Shit Sherlock segment.
Yeah.
The idea is that you guys give us the pros version on players' chances based on what you see in their form, demeanour, or something else in golf that seems obvious to your golfing eyes. Cheers, Dazza.
I like that. The
I don't mind
shit
that.
Sherlock segment.
Well, I'll tell you what,
Let's
that
do
could
that.
be a roving segment to where if we see something, we might just actually filter it in from time to time.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good one. And by the way, I just checked the golf club.
Yeah.
It is a left-handed golf club.
Give me
interesting.
another look. Give me another look at that. God.
So Dave Knight,
I don't trust you anymore.
Hang on, where are we? I just took a picture of it.
let's have a look here.
Give me a look. Yeah, it's left-handed.
Oh, okay. Yep, no, got it. Yep, got it.
Yep.
Okay, there you go. This is from Feehan Dunleavy. Feehan or Feehan? I'm not quite sure how to say that. I apologise, Feehan. Can I just say that I've been a caddy around the world for the last 30 years, and I've been trying to get GA to put a caddy list on their website for the players so they can go whenever they happen to be around
That's
the
a
world.
great idea.
They can choose, they can see what they want, they can actually grab a caddy.
That is a great idea. Don't go to Nick. Go to me, and I'll get that sorted for you. You can't even get a Nico Who going. I'll sort this out for you. That is a very, very good idea.
Well, the question was, what do you think about the idea, which sounds like you've answered.
The
And
belter.
I would love to hear from you about it, which they have just done.
Yeah, that's a
Perfect.
great idea. We're Australians travelling all over the place just to have a list of caddies that might have recommendations, might have who they've worked for, and you just go through the list and you go, I like the sound of that guy.
Sort of seems like a no-brainer.
It's a bit like a, what is it, tradie website or something?
Yeah, that's right.
Job site.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, Scott Mitchell wrote in, and he's got a question for you guys as well about pros and normal people.
Pros and normal people.
Pros v normal people.
Do you count as a normal person, Dan?
Oh, barely.
I think that's right. There we go.
Hello.
Hey, Scott, it's Mark Allen and Nick O'Hearn.
Hey guys, how you going? They really enjoy the pod each week.
Oh, you're a good man. Thanks for listening.
Cheers,
we
Scott.
appreciate it. Now, what's your question?
Guys, I was at the Aussie PGA a couple of days last week. Sensational, by the way. And I'm one of those guys who likes to hang around the tee boxes on the 4s and 5s to watch the pros hit their driver.
Yeah, nice.
I notice a lot of the pros don't tee the ball that high, maybe only quarter of the ball above the club face. Cam Smith and Moronk came to mind, using a good old-fashioned wooden tee. They still get that great launch and ball flight with not much spin, I'm assuming. So what's their secret to doing that apart from having amazing ability?
Well, I have a feeling, look, modern-day drivers, they're built to have the tee up nice and high because you want to launch it high and no spin. Was it on any particular holes that were maybe into the wind or tight driving holes? Because that's what the pros do a lot of the time. They tee it down when they, kind of have to flight one a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. I think Cam might have been on that tight 14th where he looked like he was trying to hit maybe a cut.
Yeah.
Where you had that big tree on that right-hand side that the pros were having a lot of trouble with. So I think he's trying to hold up his draw, I think.
Right, yeah, that makes sense there. So I would say most of the pros tee it pretty high and launch and let it rip when they want a bit more control. And and the weird thing is, for a pro at that level, when they hit a controlled flighted shot, it still looks like it goes an absolute freaking mile.
Yeah.
So, but for them, they're just trying to kind of hit a bit more of a fairway finder, then they'll just tee it down a little more.
I've got a feel on this as well, Scott. I know when I was playing, if I teed the ball down low, I felt like I had a lot less chance of the thing going left. A lot, so of a pull.
Yeah, right.
So I would do that. Also, there are holes at the moment now at where I play Kingston Heath. There's the 8th hole, you can't see where the bunkers are. But sometimes I know if I tee a ball up, there's more chance of it going into these bunkers. If I tee it down lower, quite often I hit it lower on the club face. That makes the ball spin more. That's what we're talking about with rollback earlier in the program as well. And because it spins more, it doesn't go as far. But it's a judgment call to where I think if I hit a really good 3-wood, it might. I'm better off hitting a low teed driver to get closer to that run out that I want to get to.
Right, gotcha. Just get that little bit of a squeeze out there.
Yeah, a little squeezer. A little squeezer that won't go left.
Guys, I don't want to be the Yoko Ono who breaks up the Talk Birdie to Me band.
Oh.
But I did notice last week Zinger's contract as NBC lead golf analyst hasn't been renewed. There were rumours they were looking for a major champion to fill a chair, but I can only think of one current announcer who has beaten Tiger twice in match play.
Good point.
And, delivers good insight and measured comments with a bit of wit on air. So I was wondering, Nick, have you thought about throwing your hat into the ring?
Oh, that is very, very kind of you, Scott, to say those words. But it's actually already been filled, I believe, by Kurt Byram.
Kurt Byram?
Yes.
You're better than him. My God. Come on.
Well,
Kurt Byram.
Hey, if they could let me do it remotely from Australia, then I'd do it. But
Kurt Byram wouldn't tie up Tiger's shoes, mate. You've beaten him twice.
Yeah, but I think I don't know where Kurt's come from. Maybe he's been doing the smaller events.
He's been doing the seconds.
The Corn Ferry Tour.
Corn Ferry, yeah. He's been doing some Corn Ferry work.
Yeah, I haven't heard him, so I'm not sure.
No, he's a good commentator.
I'm sure he's very good, obviously.
Mate, he's a very, very, very good commentator, but you need a little bit of something.
Yeah.
You need something on the CV apart from just a win here and there.
Maybe a foreign accent would be good over there too. That's why Finchie does so well,
That's
I
why
think.
he does. Oh, and he's a very nice fish.
And he's one of the
so
nicest.
nice, you want to punch him. In fact, Ian Baker Finch.
Hey, Marco, since you came out I think it was the other week, talking about clenching your fist when putting your glove on, I've noticed I can't stop doing that now.
Good.
I'm not sure if it's cut any shots, but I must admit, I think I get a better fit with my gloves.
Well, hopefully they don't wear out as much, because when you put them on loose, they really do scab up a bit, and it's no good. So you want them on nice and tight, and if you do make a fist and then close the glove, you'll get it fitting better, and those gloves will last a lot longer. And that's not coming from me. That's coming from the bloke who used to give me FootJoy gloves way back in America, back in the early 90s.
Sensational.
Good on you. Thanks, Scotty.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Yeah, power questions there from Scott.
Good.
Well, let's just play the music.
Okay, bring it on.
You said we weren't going to refer to it anymore?
Oh, I couldn't help myself. Look at my arm. Look, I've got goosebumps.
Tingles.
Look, I've got goosebumps on my forearms, Nick.
Yeah, I might have that played as I step to the first tier cathedral, actually.
Yes.
What do you think? Anyway, okay, the Ping Global results. Well, we had two National Opens going on at once, actually. We had the South African Open on the DP World Tour, and obviously our Australian Open, which had 3 fields, as it turns out. Sticking here with Australia, obviously Joaquin Niemann, who we spoke of, beat Hoshino Minwoo Lee, finishing 3rd, and he's a Ping player. So that's the Australian Open, been won by 2 Ping players the last 2 years. Because Adrian Moronk won last year. This year, Joaquin Niemann.
Nice.
Ashley Buhai created history, went back to back.
Very
That's
good.
only ever been done by Kari Webb and Yanni Singh. They've gone back to back as well in our National Open.
Never seen a swing more on plane than hers.
And the tempo and the rhythm. Works great when it's windy, which is what it was on the final round.
Her backswing's the most grooved on-plane backswing I've seen.
The only time I got worried about Ashley Buhai through that event was when she had about 15 feet up the hill where she had to 2-putt and she left it 3 feet short.
Ooh.
And you could see she's gone,
There's a few
Ooh.
laying up on the 54th hole. That was interesting too.
That was weird. Yeah. I just thought she was going to play centre of the green because I'm thinking she's playing for a 5, but then she goes straight at it.
Yeah.
It was kind of strange. Anyway, she has the Patricia Bridges bowl, so well done.
Good stuff.
The other event going on was the All Abilities there.
Yeah.
Now, Australia's number 1 ranked All Abilities player, Lachlan Wood, shot 71, 72, 70
Nick off.
around those golf courses.
Nick off.
That is impressive. To be even par, I will nick off.
Wow.
He
That's
beat
very good.
Irishman Brendan Lawler, who's just a brilliant player. Like, I think he's 3rd or 4th in the world.
Yeah.
And our own Cameron Pollard as well, who, remember Cameron Pollard and Lachlan Wood, they've been battling it out here in Australia. He finished 3rd, so that was a really good result for
He's
Cameron.
been bashed up a little bit lately because he's been in on the wrong end of some wins. And he needs a bit of a confidence boost.
Yeah, anyway. The South African Open, Dean Burmester went back-to-back because he won last week as well, Joburg Open.
We spoke about him, and he's a golfer that is very good to watch.
Impressive.
You watch him play, he does a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. How many times do you think Gary Player won the South African Open?
15.
Ooh, close. 13.
Wow.
13 times.
Pretty good.
Because I was looking, and how many times he won the Australian Open? You know
9.
this. No, I think
7.
7. There you go.
There
7.
you go.
Jack's at 6. And anyway.
Ivor Whitten 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, you're a historian.
I saw the slide that went up.
Should have got you on the coverage. The Tigers event, the Hero World Challenge, where they had 20 players. Scotty Scheffler, as you said, cruised to a 3-shot win over Seb Strucker.
Yeah.
And JT.
His footwork's getting worse.
Justin Thomas finished 3rd. Will Zalatoris brought up the rear end of the field. It's his first event back in a long time. His scores, get this, Mark, 81,
Yep.
69,
Yep.
79,
Yep.
71.
Yep.
How is that for an up and down
I
week?
don't know.
That is crazy.
Now,
And he's gone to the broomstick.
yeah. So Will, if you don't know,
What's the stroke look like? I didn't see any of it.
they didn't show Will.
For obvious reasons.
They didn't show Will, but Will, my heart breaks for Will Zalatoris because he lost. He's come second in majors 3 times now. He was offered a lot of money to go to live, a hell of a lot of cash, and I'm talking big coin, as big as anybody. And he said no.
He did.
And not long after, he got the yips to where, I won't call them the yips. He got the heebie-jeebies. So he said no to all that money. Then got the heebie-jeebies.
Oh, he's had back issues.
Then
That's
he's got
why
the
he's been
back
out.
issues. Now he's got a long putter, and he's coming last, basically. So
He'll be fine. This is his first event back. I have belief in the young man.
I hope, because I don't want to see him not make a cent for the rest of his life, and he said no to all that money at live.
Because he was...
That's
also,
a heartbreaker.
Who does he look like off Happy Gilmore? Is there a caddy?
The caddy. Yeah, he looks
Young
like
kid.
Happy's caddy.
That's
Yeah.
right.
He's a better player, though.
Yes, a little bit.
Yep.
Okay, on the Asian Tour, second last event of the schedule, Chinese Taipei, the Taifong Open. I'm just mentioning this because there's a name here, the guy that won it. I'm going to see if I can get this out.
Go on.
Haven't had a wine either.
Go on.
Suripat Pradeep Tiancha.
Awesome. How good are you?
Pratin, oh gosh, I've stuffed it already.
No, you got it right the first time.
Yeah, I did. Anyway, he had a 4-shot win. Best of the Aussies was Todd Sinnott.
Still going, Toddy?
Yeah, he didn't play here in
the Aussie
Australia.
Open?
No, he was up there in Asia.
Played in the PGA, but not in the Australia.
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
Right.
Maybe he didn't get a start. I don't know.
right.
And Doug Klein tied for 32nd. Up in Japan, Taiga Semikawa had a 1-shot win over Takumi Kanai and Kita Nakajima.
Wow.
No relation to Tommy,
Yep.
I don't think.
That's right. No, you're right.
And Brad Kennedy tied 12th. Still going well up there.
Still going with the weak grip.
Yeah.
No knuckles on the left hand.
Tied 15th for Dylan Perry. So that was really good. LPGA Q School, which is going on at the moment. Now, I don't know, because we're recording this a little earlier than when it's finished. They had to cancel round 3 because of storms. But
Yes.
they just finished round 3 the other day, and Robin Choi
Come on,
shot
Rob.
64 to move into the lead.
Come on, Rob.
She's coming first.
That's big.
LPGA Q School.
That's
so
big.
Look out for her. I'm hoping she can gain one of the cards. Top 20 get a good category over there on the LPGA Tour. And finally, coming up is the Live Promotions event, December 8 to 10.
Right.
Okay, it's coming up. 11 Aussies are competing.
Yeah.
They have round 1, 59 players, top 20 advance. Round 2,
Yeah.
they're going to have 35-ish players.
Yes.
Top 20 advance. Final 36 holes. Top 3 get their live
Top
card.
3.
Huge. Jed Morgan and Wade Ormsby get exempt into their second round.
Good.
See Jason Duffner. He's
Duff,
playing.
yeah.
Duff is playing.
Good.
Got some
Righto.
interesting names in the...
And so he would have got in through a past President's Cup category.
major champion.
Yep.
Possibly. But anyway, quite a few of our Australians like Lockie Barker, Austin Batista,
Yep.
the Iceman,
Yep.
Andrew Dott, Scott Hend, Brendan Jones is going.
Jonesy.
BJ.
Wow.
Going to give it a go. Ryan Ruffles, Zach Murray.
Jonesy be, 50-something, wouldn't he? How old is Jonesy?
Yeah,
these
I think
days?
he's 50, 51.
Yeah, right.
Travis Smythe and Kevin Yuan. Anyway, so
Righto.
hopefully to those guys, they can perhaps get a card on Live. So that
Fingers
is our
crossed. Fingers crossed.
Ping Global result.
Okay, it's time for this week's top 5, and on the back of Joaquin Niemann just eagling the last to take victory in the Australian Open, I thought it'd be a good time
Okay.
to go back at some of the greatest playoff performances we have ever seen.
Oh, I like this.
You don't make it, even though you hold a bunker shot. to
Well, I've
win
been in
the
2 4-hole
Australian PGA.
playoffs, so they're not worthy of it.
Pazza did, who beat you? No, he didn't. Where did he beat you at the Heineken?
Oh, don't just
God, he holds
please,
some putts on you.
please just
God.
don't remind me of it. Royal Melbourne, yep.
No, only Birdie birdies and eagles make this
Good.
list, so it's you've got to be good. And I'm not going to start it off without Celine Boudier, who beat Tay Titikal.
Ataya Titikal.
Thank you. In 9 holes, and there was lots of birdies made, and it was the longest playoff they've had for a long, long time. So
Yes.
Celine Boudier gets in. Well done. One we saw this year that you and I both loved, Tommy Fleetwood trying to win for the first time on the US PGA Tour.
Yes.
Nick Taylor ends up holding a bomb on about the 4th playoff hole. It was a huge
Canadian Open.
It was an 80-footer to win his home national championship.
Open. How good are National Opens? And that was when Adam Hadwin got attacked by the security guard when he was coming in to celebrate.
That's right.
Gave him the hip and shoulder.
Who did Hadwin dress up as in Halloween this year? He dressed up as a security guard
Yeah.
Halloween. Yeah, so that was
Love
good.
it.
That was good. Adam Scott making birdie
Oh,
to
of
win
course.
the Masters. We've got an Australian lean here at Talk
Of
Birdie
course.
to me.
To beat Angel Cabrera.
That was huge.
How was Cabrera's shot on the 72nd hole?
Oh,
by the way?
ridiculous.
That was a joke.
Ridiculous. Is he out of jail yet,
Yes,
Angel?
he's back.
He's back in business? Has he got an ankle bracelet or anything like that?
I'm
Or
not
is he
sure.
okay?
I don't know.
This one makes me sick.
This is number 2.
This is number 2. Larry Mize.
Oh, yes. of
Larry
course.
Mize didn't just beat Greg Norman in that playoff with that chip in at 11. He also beat Severiano Ballesteros in the same playoff. Sevi stuffed up the 10th hole, and it was just down to Greg and Larry.
Do you remember they had the camera on Sevi as he does the lonely walk back
Yes.
up the 10th?
Yes,
I'll always remember that image.
I remember. So, again, so many people, he's known for chipping in on Greg Norman, but he actually beat 2 of the biggest heavyweights the game has ever known in that playoff, Sevi and Greg. And my number 1, playoff performance.
Okay.
After being told he had to swing like a 22 handicap early in the week by Johnny Miller, Craig Parry holding a 6-iron at the Blue Monster is the number 1.
Number 1.
Well done, Pazza.
To defeat
Who'd he beat?
Scott Verplank.
Scott Verplank.
Yes.
God, what a grip. He used to tape up his putter grips with tennis coverings.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, like wraps.
Like wraps. Like he had tennis wraps on his ping grip.
I always liked Scotty. Good guy.
He seemed like a good guy.
Yeah, he was. Real grinder.
Time for this week's masterclass.
And is this the second week in a row? I think we're doing it on Minwoo Lee because you did it on his pitching, didn't you, at the
Yeah, I did.
PGA?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
well,
his
I'm going to
chipping
do
and
it
pitching.
because of his shot that he hit on the
36 hole?
off the pine straw, because this is such a hard shot to hit. When he was over the ball and he was talking to his caddy about, is it an 8 or a 9 iron? And at 173 metres, I was thinking, 8 or a 9 iron?
Yeah.
That's the first thing I was
Yeah.
thinking. So in my own mind, I'm thinking, take the 8, because if you got to go at it hard, you're going to slip. But he went with a 9 and he went at it hard. Somehow he made great contact. So the masterclass is when you get that dodgy lie, whether it's pine straw or it's soft sand or it's loose in the rough, take the extra club. Don't do a Minwoo Lee and go at it flat out, because what he did is a 1 in 100 shot.
He's
basically.
a freak show.
He's a freak.
He's a freak show.
For the other 99.99999 golfers out there, you're not going to be able to do that. So the key in these situations is stability. So you want a little wider stance. And if anything, maybe if you can sort of create a little bit of stability with your feet, somehow get them not buried into the ground, but just create a nice base for yourself. That's always good. And take an extra club, a smooth 3/4 swing. It's a little bit like playing out of a fairway bunker, where you want to keep the lower body nice and quiet, more of an upper body swing, all about making that solid contact. At a pine straw, every now and then you can get a little bit of a jumpy sort of lie out of it when you get one of those little straws that get stuck in between the club face and the ball. So be wary of that. That's why taking the extra club, you just want to make a nice smooth swing. Don't go at it too hard. And solid contact is key. And then the other thing is, don't try and bite off more than you can chew. Because you're out of position, play to the fat side of the green or the fat side of the fairway, wherever you're going. Take your medicine and move on. Don't take the hero shot of knocking it over the water, big slinging draw and hitting it to 2 feet. That's all well and nice, but it probably won't work out. So I'll post a video up on socials, how to hit those shots out of those sort of lies that are really tricky in the rough, which I'm sure a lot of us get because a lot of us don't hit the fairway too often.
That is true. Well, I've got some advice for you.
We've
Just
done it.
a couple of Brockers before
Oh.
you get up there, okay? Just a couple of Brockers, set
No.
yourself, and then you'll
Look,
be okay for round one.
I'm going to have a glass, maybe two at the gala dinner. That'll be it. That'll be it. I've got my good buddy Paul Marsh caddying for me.
Have you had Marshy?
Marshy's coming out on the second day because in first day we're out in golf carts.
He's a good fella, Paul Marsh.
Yeah, he good player himself. So we're going to have some fun, and I will let you know how I go.
All right. Say hello to David Evans for me.
Will do.
And tell him I'm still looking for my invitation as well.
Okay.
I didn't get one last year. I looked
Mate.
in the letterbox all week, and I still didn't get my invitation.
Maybe
So
next year.
good on you,
Who
Dave.
knows?
Good on you, David.
Cheers, guys.
See you next time.
Thanks for listening to Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen's podcast, Talk Birdie to Me. And if you're looking for some new gear, Ping is absolute top class. Ping help you play your best. Contact your local golf shop or professional and they'll sort you out. And the Golf Clearance Outlet, who beat everyone's prices. They're in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane and Perth, and online at golfclearanceoutlet.com.au. Got a favour to ask, wherever you listen, if you get a chance to rate and review the pod, that would be fantastic. And if you subscribe, you'll never miss an episode. Talk Birdie to Me's executive producer is Dan Bradley at Kaizen Media, and sound design is by Daryl Misson at loudzebra.com.